You're tuned into the VSX Digital Sports Network.
More fire, more heat. This is Move.
You're listening to the boss of the big ball.
Good morning, Las Vegas, and all of my sports bettors around the world. You're rocking with the ball to the big board. JB, the ticket, Vegas Scoreboard Express, waking you up early this Sunday morning. Nice and wet and rainy here in Las Vegas. Got Hurricane Hillary breaking up down on the Baja Coast down in San Diego. Want to give a shout out to all my folks listening this morning. My main man, Naheem the Dream, ran into him this morning at my gas station. We're going to be getting into some gas this weekend. I got gassed with a lot of the NFL preseason, but I got my main man, Ron, Third Down Best Bets, on the line with me this morning to talk about it. Ron, good morning to you. How you doing?
Good morning, brother. Just waiting for the rain.
That's what I'm talking about. Ron's out in California. How is it hanging out there, man? Are you guys going to get like a ton of rain up in the LA area, or are you just going to have some clouds, a little bit cold air? I know San Diego's supposed to catch the brunt of the rain, but I'm shocked. We're getting rained on out here in Vegas. But it's a good thing because it was about 3,000 degrees for the last month and a half. So love that it's cooling off. And again, you guys are rolling with us here this morning on 107.1 AM 1400 KSHP, VSX Digital Sports Network. So last night, the Raiders again picked up another win in the preseason. They were favored and got it done. We're going to be talking about that. Their rookie quarterback, Aiden O'Connell, man, looks like this guy should have been a first-round draft pick. Balling out of control. No picks, tons of touchdowns, tons of yards. We'll talk about it when we get back. Ron, you hang on the line, and you guys here in Vegas and around the world listening on KSHP, VegasScoreboardExpress.com, and the TuneIn app. You guys keep it locked here. We got your Sunday baseball picks with my main man, Scotty Beam from Up Webb. He's back, and he's going to be breaking down the grease for you. So, again, a good Sunday. Nice and rainy. Wake up this morning, get yourself some coffee. Also want to give a shout out to another one of our sponsors, Coffee Brothers. That's right. Go to VegasScoreboardExpress.com. Get yourself 15% off from Coffee Brothers. Right when you click on the website, you will see the video. Very, very good coffee. Excellently sourced. Can't beat it. That's how we wake up here at Vegas Scoreboard Express. So when I get back from this short commercial break, we're going to get into it. Get some money.
You're listening to the boss of the big ball. Pay the ticket. Vegas Scoreboard Express. Give you that grease.
Kick off the football season with Drizzly.com. Score big with your favorite drinks delivered right to your doorstep. From ice cold brews to game day cocktails, we've got the perfect lineup for your football gatherings. Visit VegasScoreboardExpress.com and click the Drizzly. Now let's get the party started. Drink responsibly. Must be of legal drinking age. Delivery and availability may vary. Skip your cable bill this month and join the action with JB and Fubo TV. Get 7 days free, 15% off your first month. No credit check, no deposit, no installation hassle. Go to FuboTV.com/JB. Sign up, download the app, and start watching games.
Enjoy being a subscriber after the first month. Easy cancellation anytime. Regional restrictions apply. Sign up at VegasScoreboardExpress.com.
Keep it locked with your boy on the ones and twos. Going in on the wheels of steel.
You're listening to the boss of the big ball. That's the truth. This is it.
The cocaine and the crack.
They all sound the same to me.
There's a war going on outside. No man is safe from.
That's how I'm living.
That's how we do it.
That's just the way it is.
That's the reason why I came to you.
Drink and women and money.
Back at you live, KSHP 107.1 AM 1400. I'm awake this morning, giving you the grease, waking you up here. Vegas Scoreboard Express, VSX Digital Sports Network. This is where you lock it in to get some good sports betting information. And, of course, none of that boring sports radio that you're hearing around the league. Not going to waste your time with it, but we're waking you back up this morning. Got my main man, Ron, third down, best bets, back on the line with us. Going to give you that recap of yesterday's preseason games. Also have a game on the line today. Rotation number 429, the New Orleans Saints heading out to L.A. as well, going up against those Chargers at the rotation number 430. So, Ron, thank you so much for coming back on the line with me this morning and all of this inclement weather. So, you know, I'm an East Coast guy, man. Hurricanes are nothing new for me. I actually kind of enjoy it. And like I said before, living here in the desert, you never see rain. You never see any water. So it's a very good thing again. For all the crops out there, all the people growing that legal gondola, this is good stuff, man. Bottle this water up. But let's talk about it again yesterday. It was a very, very good day in the preseason. A lot of games were played. One thing I do want to talk about, though, the injuries, okay? There were quite a few neck injuries yesterday. Okay? And that is something that, like I said before, Ron, we're going to get into today. Talking about that Patriots-Packers game. Now, this is a game that I actually had on my betting ticket, and it got canceled after Isaiah Bolden, he got carted off following a very scary injury. And again, he was hit by his own player. And it was a tough situation to see that, knowing what happened last year with Damar Hamlin, and then a backup quarterback down in Tampa Bay was also injured. And it was a tough situation for them as well, but Tampa Bay was able to pull out that win over the New York Jets. That is something that I told you guys to take yesterday as a dog that was barking. So there's value there. But let's talk a little bit about these injuries, man. And if it's a situation now where if it's a serious injury and the league is going to start canceling the game or stopping the game or stuff like that, that could start affecting the sports betting, and that's why I want to bring it up. So, Ron, what are your thoughts about that? Go ahead.
I was really surprised to see that happen in preseason. You know, regular season one thing, but preseason, and it happened twice. I mean, that's really unique. I mean, that just tells you how aggressive these players are now in preseason, and the effort you're seeing to make these teams. I mean, this preseason's been incredible. I mean, I've never seen people paying attention to the preseason so much.
Yes.
Usually people don't talk about it, they don't care about it, they don't bet on it. They're just like, hurry up, let's get started.
Right.
And people are engaged with this right now.
Well, you got a lot of young players, and to second what you're saying, the preseason this year, you've got a lot of young players. The league is shifting. Okay, there's a shift in position stars. Again, the running back is changing. The wide receivers are getting more plentiful. Quarterbacks are stepping up. On the defensive side of the ball, you got edge rushers now coming in at a premium along with the defensive back. So again, it's one of those situations, like I said before, where when you have an opportunity to go out there and play, I've seen a lot of starters on the field recently as well. And this is a game that I was going to mention yesterday. There was no reason for Pat Mahomes to get on the field and do that to the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, he just went out there for a quick little putt and scoot and got him a touchdown. But again, I've seen a lot more starters, and I think the NFL preseason is becoming a lot more valuable to the organizations because not only is it an evaluation of talent, but for an injury purpose like this, it's a precedent that's going to continue. And I think that with safety constantly being an issue, changing of the rules being an issue to increase the safety of the game, I think this is something bettors have to take into consideration. Injuries, stopping games for extended amounts of play, and maybe canceling games. But again, your thoughts about that, because I had the ticket for the Packers and they were right in the red zone when this unfortunate situation happened. So how do you feel that the NFL is going to go forward during the season? Is this just going to be a precedent that remains? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see what you can do. I mean, a player gets injured, you really have to stop playing. I mean, how can you continue playing? I mean, I hope it doesn't happen ever again to any player in the rest of the future of the NFL. Mm-hmm. I don't ever want to see anybody get hurt. So I just want to throw it out there, and I hope it doesn't happen. But I mean, how else can you respond? I mean, you can't just pick a guy up, cart him on, keep going. I mean, with something like that.
Right. I mean, society has changed in a lot of that way. I mean, It is just something.
Years ago,
yeah.
Cart the guy off, and keep going. That's not the way it is anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's just life isn't that way anymore.
Well, we'll talk about a game that did keep going. Again, that was a decision made by coaches, and this is one of the things I wanted to contrast this morning before we got into the picks. The Jets and the Buccaneers game continued after backup quarterback Wolford, the young man, let me pull up the stats here for this guy, John Wolford, and he got a neck injury also in the red zone, but that game remained on. They kept playing, and again, Tampa Bay was able to win that one 13-6. But like I said before, from a betting perspective, it is something that I'm going to tell the bettors out there to keep in the back of your mind. If there is a serious injury in a game and you have a parlay or you have a ticket, it may be something you want to handicap. And it's not ever one of those things where you can say, well, this guy's a big hitter or this guy, tends to, get sacked a lot. It is just a lot more of the freak injury type situation. And when you see that, it is a very tough situation on the reality. And it is something that you're just going to have to, realize that you got to keep that in mind, because it is a tough situation where you have players on the field trying to make the team, trying to get on that 53-man roster. We're getting into week 3 of the preseason. So again, it's a toss-up. Coaches, players, I think that's more of a decision that's going to be made game by game. I don't think it's going to be coming down officially, but it is something they're going to have to look at. I mean, these neck injuries are happening a lot more frequent. I was watching the game a couple seasons back when Ryan Shazier unfortunately had his neck injury. So I think it's something they have to look at from the perspective of trying to develop a little bit more safety in relationship to some of these tough games. I mean, it is football. I mean, like I said, we don't want to soften it up too much. But injuries, the serious type of injuries that can paralyze, maim, and put people in a lifetime of hurt and pain, they got to figure out a way to kind of shake that up a little bit. But let's go ahead and get into some of the recaps that came on the air yesterday, being brought to you by our friends over at Fubo TV. That's right. Go to FuboTV.com/JB, giving you 15% off and 7 days free. So it was a very surprising game. I took this game early on in the day, cost me a ton of money, thought it was a dog that's barking. It was not. It was the battle of the cats. And I'm telling you right now, the Jaguars were all over the Detroit Lions, 25-7. The game got away from Detroit right away. They've only got one opportunity to score in the third quarter, and then it was Jacksonville all day. So that offensive scheme is clicking for them. I like to see teams score a lot in the preseason. Again, they're calling plays up and down that playbook. So if the plays are working, you can see that maybe later on in the season, you can get opportunities for success. But let's talk about that Detroit Lions team again yesterday. I didn't like what I saw. Early pick, defense, thought they could do something. Nick Sudfeld, he was terrible yesterday. I gave him a lot of grease. He fell off. Absolutely terrible. I didn't like what I didn't like it. I'm telling you, that's how bad it was. I mean, it was just terrible coaching. The offense was stagnant. Detroit, the Lions, we gave them a lot of grease for that NFC North. And opposed to that, we were talking about that Packers game we're just getting ready to get into. But the Lions stunk yesterday, and I don't like what I see going into that week 2, week 3 of the preseason, because when the starters get in there and they're still running that same offensive scheme, if he can't put up points, woe unto us. Because we got the Lions on our betting board. We're giving them grease this year. Go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, I was pretty unimpressed with Detroit yesterday. I mean, they did not look like the Lions I saw last year. It looked like a team that reverted 5 years ago.
Right. It was terrible.
I think the Lions are going to be okay. They're a much better team. It was a bad showing. It was just a bad showing. They didn't show up for whatever reason. I mean, that team is a lot better than what we saw yesterday.
Yep.
That was really piss poor. Excuse my language. That was really bad.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really tough situation. And like I said before, I didn't see anything coming out of the team. The offense was stagnant. The defense, we thought they had the spark with Gilmore's interception in the first quarter. But after that, it was all a loss. Moving down to another game yesterday that confused me. And again, this is a team that we didn't give a lot of grease, but they may be surprising because they've got a gunslinger back there. Guy named Sam Ehlinger, man. This guy was balling. Somehow, some way, he costed me money on the money line. I took the Chicago Bears on the ticket. Bears were leading the entire game and then came back and lost. Chicago Bears rotation number 413 losing at Indianapolis to the Colts 24-17. Now, this is another game where I took a look at it and I said, look, better quarterbacks. Let's see who's going to play late in the game. Next thing you know, you get this kid, Sam Ehlinger. He comes in there and just starts balling out. Do you think there's a possibility that he may be earning the starting job? Because like I said before, there's so many players on these teams that just have the ability to continue to play ball. And Gardner Minshew, saw a little bit of that Minshew mania yesterday, okay? 13 of 15, 107 yards, a touchdown, no picks. And then Sam Ehlinger came in there and managed the clock, 9 of 14, 124 yards, no TDs and no picks. But again, that's great clock management. Indianapolis, do you think they could still shock some people because they're supposed to be starting Anthony Richardson at the quarterback, but they've got some good backups in there. So do you think that may be the plan? Say, look, we got this high draft pick. We'll throw him out there. If he starts to stink it up, we might bring in one of these backups like Ehlinger or Minshew to kind of right the ship. And what I'm seeing out of the quarterback play and some of their play calling, I think it's a possibility, even with Jonathan Taylor continuing to hold out in training camp and in this preseason. Go ahead.
Absolutely, yeah. The Colts are a mess right now. I mean, they really are. There's no direction. Where are they going? I mean, who's running this? I mean, they're like really spinning in midair. He could wind up the starter. He actually could. I agree. I don't think he's meant to be the starter, but he could wind up. I mean, they're going to go with Richardson, and if he comes out and he balls, he's got the job. It's his team. He struggles, though. We might see Mr. Ehlinger.
Well, I mean, Ehlinger, let's talk about it from a rushing perspective. You talk about the running back position. There wasn't a lot of running back production yesterday for the Indianapolis Colts, and that's one of the issues that was going on in the first half. You had Huntley. He had 8 attempts, 19 yards. You had Funk, 5 attempts, 18 yards. Hull, 4 attempts, 13 yards. Jackson, 3 attempts. And you had Kenyon Drake coming there, 3 attempts, 5 yards. That ain't ever going to get it done on the ground. And this is one of the reasons why I'm telling people that the running back position is being devalued because of the production. You got to produce somehow, some way, show a spark. That's what these preseason games are for. Again, anybody who says preseason is not valuable, it's valuable to the players, and it should be valuable to you sports bettors out there. And for all you guys out there doing the fantasy football, you can learn a lot about what these players are doing. But Sam Ehlinger yesterday, he got 8 attempts. These are rushing attempts, by the way, 60 yards, a touchdown, and ran 16 yards for his long rush. So again, quality play from backup quarterbacks. It's going to continue to be important coming into this next season. Again, moving down the line to another game yesterday. We'll go ahead and get into it. Our hometown Las Vegas Raiders. All of you guys that were hating on me, JB, you don't know what you're talking about, man. The Raiders ain't going to be no good this year, you know? You know what I'm saying? You ain't from the town, all that. You know what? Get out of here with that. I told you this dog was barking. They were a favorite. Should have been bet as the dog, but they tore up the Rams 34-17. Again, that's rotation number 425. Las Vegas Raiders went out to L.A. and handled the business that they needed to handle, and we saw the emergence of rookie quarterback Aiden O'Connell. This guy's been balling out of control. Playing with fire, playing with spark. I think he knows in the back of his mind Jimmy G might be a little bit injury prone, might get caught up with a little bit of poon, but like I said before, he is ready to go. Okay. And this is a guy that you had mentioned when we first got into this season with the previews of the AFC West. And when we talked about the rookies that they had also getting into rookie camp now, finally got the Tyree. He's finally ready to go. Got off that injury situation. But back to Aiden O'Connell. The guy's accurate. You talked about this in that AFC West preseason show that we did a couple of weeks ago, telling you that the Raiders were a solid bet to take. 11 of 18, 163 yards, 2 touchdowns in the air, and no picks. Aiden, Uncle JB is rocking with you, man. You stay ready. And we also want to talk about Jimmy G. He came in, gave us a couple of reps for 439 yards, just getting his feet wet. Coming up into that week 3 of the preseason, again, we're going to be seeing a lot more starters getting more reps. But when you talk about it from that perspective, Aiden O'Connell, do you think he's locked up that number 2 position here in Vegas at quarterback? Go ahead.
God, I hope so. He looks so good. He is the quarterback. This kid, Vegas is going to wind up loving this kid. He's got it. He has got it. You can see it. He's accurate. That's one thing you can't teach. You can't coach. He's accurate.
and a touchdown machine. He's accurate. He's not a pick monster, and he focuses on his receivers. He's one of these quarterbacks. He's like, look, I got to get the ball out. I'm not going to run. I'm not going to scramble. I'm going to throw it away, or I'm going to hit somebody in their hands. That's it. And that's what you need. And like you said, he came out of that Big Ten, which doesn't get a lot of credit for being the quarterback conference now, but it should. You've got tons of guys coming out of the Big Ten. And again, he is one of these guys that fell down in the rounds, but is a high-quality talent. But talking about the rushing situation at the Raiders, I knew this was going to happen. Okay, 10 attempts and 40 yards for Zamir White. Williams, 5 attempts, 19 yards. Thomas, 2 attempts, 15 yards. Only had long rushes of 10 and 12 yards, basically getting 1 to 2 first downs on the rush. That ain't going to get it done. Do we need to figure out a contract situation with Josh Jacobs? Because some of the premier running backs in free agency have already been picked up by teams. So as far as making a trade for somebody, that's out. Do they just need to offer this guy $25 million for 2 seasons, $30 million for 1 season, or just give him something and say, look, we know you're not happy here, but we need some help in the backfield. We got to complete this team because, again, if they don't have quality running back play, it could get a little bit difficult, and we want to see the receivers. Devontae Adams, he's got a little bit of an injury he's trying to nurse himself back from. So, again, the Raiders have to be clicking on all cylinders. With Josh Jacobs not in camp, not in the preseason, not getting any reps, and the plethora of running backs that we've got here on our roster not really showing too much in their action so far in preseason, what do the Raiders front office have to do? They got to just cut the check for this guy. Go ahead.
Absolutely. They should have cut it before this even started. I mean, I've been saying that since last year. Guy leads the league in rushing. You signed the guy. He busted his butt for you. He was the only valid weapon we had on offense last year, most of it. A lot of games teams knew Carr couldn't get it done, and they just, they brought everybody in. They socked the line down. He still rushed 140 yards. I mean, you got to reward the guy for that.
Got to pay him.
Reward him.
You got to pay him. I mean, like I said before, Ezekiel Elliott, remember I talked about him? He got signed. Remember I talked about Dalvin Cook? He got signed. Again, that's why you guys tune into Vegas Scoreboard Express each and every Saturday and Sunday. Right now you're listening to JB the Ticket. My main man, Ron, Third Down, Best Bets, breaking it down for you. We're the ones telling you guys early on what's going to happen. We study this. We look at it. Even if some of the bets go awry. Still good information, and when it counts and when it really counts and you need that dog bet to put cash in your pocket, go over to our friends at betus.com. Sign up, use offer code VSX125. Again, Ron, hang on the line with me. We're going to get back, finish up some more of this NFL preseason action. Got a game on the line today again. Going to be breaking it down with you, talking about this game versus the New Orleans Saints and Los Angeles Chargers. Got that inclement weather out there. And then tomorrow, going to give you a quick preview for the early Monday night game. Got the Baltimore Ravens versus the Washington Commanders. So it should be a good finish out for the weekend of pro football. Ron, any shout outs before we take this short commercial break, get back? And then, of course, you guys be sure to stay tuned. Going to be closing out the show with my main man, Scotty Beam, Up Webb from MLB-daily.com. But Ron, go ahead with your shout outs, and then we'll take this short commercial break.
Yes, sir. I want to give one to my dad, Ted Bass. Football season starting. A huge Raider fan. He's so excited right now. And for my brother and sister, Richard and Joe and Carrie, get better soon. The football's coming. Everybody needs to be out there.
And that's what I'm talking about. Want to give a shout out to my main man, Linwood, Hard Rock Hamilton, defender of the youth. This guy's been trying to put together that documentary. Former Philadelphia Eagle, Edmonton Elk, played when they were the Edmonton Eskimos, but times have changed. Just want to make sure that you guys don't forget about that. Go to VegasScoreboardExpress.com, click his profile link, and donate. It's going to be one of the better documentaries that you have seen. And again, I've been getting into the documentary business. A lot of athletes out there have great stories, things that can inspire you and make you think more about than just the game or the ticket in your pocket or the money you lost or the money that you can win or may have won. These are still people, and they need an outlet to tell their stories so you guys not only stay interested in the game, but the people who make the game happen. JB the Ticket in Vegas Scoreboard Express. When I get back, we're going to get more money.
You're listening to the boss of the big ball, JB the Ticket. Vegas Scoreboard Express. Giving you that grease.
Skip your cable bill this month and join the action with JB and Fubo TV. Get 7 days free, 15% off your first month. No credit check, no deposit, no installation hassle. Go to FuboTV.com/JB. Sign up, download the app, and start watching games.
Enjoy being a subscriber after the first month. Easy cancellation anytime. Regional restrictions apply. Sign up at VegasScoreboardExpress.com.
Kick off the football season with Drizzly.com. Score big with your favorite drinks delivered right to your doorstep. From ice cold brews to game day cocktails, we've got the perfect lineup for your football gatherings. Visit VegasScoreboardExpress.com and click the Drizzly. Now let's get the party started. Drink responsibly. Must be of legal drinking age. Delivery and availability may vary.
More fire, more heat.
You're listening to the boss of the big ball. JB the Tech Act. Giving you that grit. Vegas Scoreboard Express. Always spitting that explosive fire.
Jamie the Ticket, Vegas Scoreboard Express, giving you some of that grease, giving you the beats that wake you up early in the morning, making sure that you stay tuned and lock it in with me here. Got my main man, Ron, third down best bets, Vegas Scoreboard Express contributor, VSX Digital Sports Network co-host, bringing you the grease, breaking things down for you. Was the first guy to tell you about Aiden O'Connell, was the first guy to tell you that the Raiders needed to pay Josh Jacobs. Getting back on the line with you, Ron. You still there?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic, man. Again, you being brought to you by our friends over at Fubo TV. Go to FuboTV.com and click the games. I'm telling you guys, FuboTV.com/JB. Giving you 15% off. Why are you still paying for cable? Telling you guys you're going to mess up your credit going into Christmas season. They're going to double up that bill. I know how it goes. That's what they do. Well, we bill you a month in advance. None of that grease. None of that crap over at Fubo TV. That's the dirty grease. We're giving you the clean grease. Not going to fry up your money. We're going to fry up your savings. 15% off, 7 days free. Also, again, if you're over 21 and you like to have a little bit of spice and drink in your life for your football parties, get over to my friends over at Drizzly.com. Go to my website, VegasScoreboardExpress.com, and you're going to get 15% off there. I'm the 15% off guy or more. I try to make sure that you get value for listening to the show, supporting the show. Again, thank you guys out there for listening here in Las Vegas and listening around the world on all the various podcast networks that you pick up the show. Again, shout out my main man, Naeem the Dream. If you guys are always hearing that ding in the background, that's him texting me during the show. He's a big-time fan. Again, Philly native. Thank you so much for appreciating this East Coast style radio that I'm bringing out west. So let's talk about it today. Some of the games that are on the line. The New Orleans Saints, rotation number 429. They've got our throwaway quarterback, but he's doing great things down in New Orleans. Still like Derek Carr. Class act. Good Christian man. Announced his departure from Vegas into church. So you always got to love that, especially doing it on a Sunday. But they're playing the Chargers. Rotation number 430 out in L.A. Chargers in a dog position here at plus 3.5, plus 150 on the money line. Now the total of 37.5 could be in play. It's one of those situations where it's like, look, are they going to score a lot or is the weather going to be inclement? I know that there's some sort of a dome set up over in Inglewood for the Rams, but again, just players worried about if they're from San Diego or they have family in San Diego, worried about their property, worried about the family members and friends or things like that. How do you think that's going to affect the Chargers here? They are in a dog position. And do you absolutely think that you may see a little bit of Justin Herbert? Again, these younger quarterbacks, younger players, younger receivers, over the course of the last 2 weeks, we have seen them get some reps. But again, last night, those 2 neck injuries. No Anthony Richardson as well for the Colts. Do you think that we may see Justin Herbert just get a few reps? Possibly Derek Carr, or are we going to have to look at some of these rookies and see which one is the best to bet? And again, remember, in the preseason, change of pace is a big thing. Again, Scotty Beam and Up Webb told me that this morning. Change of pace. When they bring in different quarterbacks, different things happen. Again, it got kind of stagnant last night with the 49ers and Sam Darnold, and then they brought in Trey Lance, and he was able to get you that win by one, lose by none money line. But again, I had it on a dog ticket. Should have never put the under in that Angels game, and I had them money line as well. But let's talk about it again. The Chargers at plus 3.5. Do you think that's a better bet today? Go ahead.
Yeah, I like the Chargers here. I do. I really do. I like what they got going on. I like their roster. They got a good football team. They got a really good football team, actually. If they stay healthy this year, I said this before, I think they are legit Super Bowl contender.
I mean, it's so early, though. But, I mean, when you talk about it from the perspective of value and the type of players that they have coming back, you know that they also have had some issues with production and injuries. But reviewing the line, seeing that line go up to 3.5, that half point could be the difference maker here. And if we don't see Justin Herbert get out on the field, how do you think that these guys are going to maybe get the early touchdowns or the early spark? Because if you don't see guys come on the field early, and we've seen this with a few of the games in the preseason, especially that Jets-Bucks game last night, early scores can be very, very valuable to keep you in the game, especially if you're taking a money line play. But if you're taking a dog bet play on the spread side, they got to score early. How do you think they'll do it, on the ground or through the air? Go ahead.
Well, I think it'll more likely be through the air, but I like the fact that, you know, they're trying to get Kellen Moore, their new offense coordinator, worked into that system. So that means they're going to play a lot more offense because they're trying to build something. Mm-hmm. And they have a new coordinator. They want him to get into the system, and you know, so they're going to play more aggressive. You're going to see probably a little bit more starters because of that fact. Mm-hmm. You know, they need to get the system down. Now, I mean, they went from Lombardi to Kellen Moore, at offensive coordinator. So
now, do you think that there's a possibility? Just on a side note, just saw something come across the wire about came out yesterday. Sports Illustrated, the possibility of this game getting canceled today. Now, you know, I was talking about it from a sports betting perspective, and this one is in relationship to the inclement weather. You know, fans might not want to be traveling out in Southern California, going to be having heavy rains. I know you're in the LA County area. So again, it's not necessarily affecting you guys yet, or is it? Or is it going to be something that you deal with later on this evening? Go ahead.
As of yet, no, it's still pretty clear. I mean, it's just everybody's sky watching right now, really, just kind of waiting. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I'm looking over the ocean right now, and it's pretty clear. There's some white clouds. It's nothing too major.
There you go. There you go. Hopefully, you guys can still get that game going. And like I said, it's really a good trend that the NFL has taken a look at more safety and things like that. But like I said, if they can play, they can play. Now, the Saints, talking about some trends here, 41-19 against the spread in their last 60 road games. Now, this is something I'm getting from covers.com. 60 games, that's a big time. A very, very big time interval. And when you have these long time intervals, sometimes things can get lucked out in the muck. But like I said, 4-1 in the last 5 games on field turf. So we're talking about weather, this turf being in one of those stadiums that have just recently been built. Do you think that could also cause an issue? Because I think it was in LA, if I'm not mistaken, when they had the Super Bowl there. Odell Beckham Jr. was there, if I'm not mistaken. Again, clarify me if I'm wrong. And a ghost tackled him on that field, and it was a turf issue. Put him out of the league for about a season and a half. So, again, weather being a factor here. Talking about that total of 37.5. Do you think that's something that you might be able to see some value with? Taking the under. Talking about taking that under. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I like the over in this game, but it's just I think they're going to light it. I think they're going to light it up. I think they're going to see some passing today. I really do. I think it's going to be Wild West shootout.
Wild West shootout, 37.5. Let's not forget it's preseason. Don't know who they're going to throw out there. Again, the Chargers, rotation number 430. Ron likes the Chargers here at home, plus 150 on the money line. Again, he thinks that they can possibly get the win. Also, the total, he likes it over. I got to go a little bit opposite here with you. I'm going to take the total under for my bet. Not going to touch a side here. Again, I don't know who they're going to throw out there. I don't know what type of plans are going to happen. And also, don't even know if the game is going to go on. Let's move into the Monday night game. And again, Ron, thank you so much for stopping by this morning here at the big board, giving you the update. For all you guys out there who have friends and family in the LA County area where Ron is located, just told you he's at the beach overlooking the ocean, doing the show with us here live. You know that's how we do it here at VSX. And telling you right now, calm skies, but be ready for some action tonight with the Chargers and the Saints. But moving back to the East Coast tomorrow, got that NFC, AFC mixed matchup, if you want to call it. Baltimore Ravens, rotation number 431, -1 on the spread. No money line listed as of yet, and I've gotten this from betus.com. And again, these lines tend to follow a trend, especially if it's one of our online partners. Again, shout out to my folks over at Stations Casino. My main man, Brian, I know we're rocking with you, man. Appreciate everything that you were trying to put together for us. But again, it's most important to have your friendship and you guys over at Station Casinos and over also my guys at Suncoast. You guys are rocking with me. Thank you so much for yesterday. Gave you a little bit extra more money than I wanted to, but the Washington Commanders, rotation number 432, +1.5. They've got Terry McLaurin. Don't know who's going to go for them at quarterback. Total there is 38. Over and under. What say ye, Ron?
I like the under on this one.
Yeah,
I'm going the under. I'm not sure who's going to be throwing to the Washington to say the truth.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those games where, like I said, I'm probably just going to watch it for knowledge. At -1, +1.5, no money line. That ain't going to get you paid. But anyway, my main man, Ron, Third Down Best Bets. Follow him over on Instagram at RaiderHawk1. Got my main man, Scotty Beam, Up Webb, East Coast Sports Investors, and MLB-Daily.com coming up for you next. Any shout-outs before I let you get out of here and get to your day, Ron? Go ahead.
Yes, sir, but I just want to remind everybody, please help and support fighting with King Kong Cancer. American Cancer Society, please. Anything you can do to help. Support, money, blood, plasma, your time, your love, your thoughts. Anything you can do would help.
That's what I'm talking about. Again, the American Cancer Society, thank you guys so much for listening. Again, want to give a shout out to my folks over at the LV Super Bowl Committee, host committee out here in Las Vegas. They always showing JB love. They listen to the show. Just wanted to make sure that you guys know that I'm still rocking with you. Appreciate you for tuning in each and every week. And Ron, thank you so much for your concern. And again, if any of you guys out there are fighting that dastardly disease called cancer, which I lost a brother to and an aunt and my grandma back in the day, do what you can to donate. And again, if you guys are over affiliated with the American Cancer Society, give us a call over here at VSX Digital Sports Network, 702-909-0585. Love to take some donations in your name for this upcoming football season. So when I get back from this short commercial break, got my main man, Scotty, Beam him up, Webb, East Coast Sports Investors, MLB Daily. Guys, grab your bankroll, your pen and pad. It's time to get some money on the diamond. Let's just get paid.
You're listening to the boss of the big ball, JB the Tech Hat. Vegas Scoreboard Express, giving you that grease.
Vegas Scoreboard Express, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 6 on AM 1400 KSHP North Las Vegas. Online at KSHP.com.
The best choice for convenience, comfort, and value, My Place hotels are ideal for both short-term and long-term travelers. The rooms at My Place features pillow-top mattresses, microfiber bedding, and a variety of soft and firm pillows. All extended stay rooms offer their own kitchen, which includes a full-size refrigerator and a cooktop. On-site laundry facilities are also available for extended stays at pet-friendly My Place hotels. Book your stays online at myplacehotels.com. My Place Hotels, St. George and West Jordan, Utah. Make My Place your place.
Skip your cable bill this month and join the action with JB and Fubo TV. Get 7 days free, 15% off your first month. No credit check, no deposit, no installation hassle. Go to FuboTV.com/JB. Sign up, download the app, and start watching games.
Enjoy being a subscriber after the first month. Easy cancellation anytime. Regional restrictions apply. Sign up at VegasScoreboardExpress.com.
You're tuned into the VSX Digital Sports Network. You're listening to the boss of the big bar.
If you have money, you can buy anything.
JB the Ticker.
More fire, more heat.
Vegas Scoreboard Express. Giving you that grease.
JB the Ticket, Vegas Scoreboard Express, back on the line with you here. Got my main man Scotty Beam Up Webb on the line. Scotty, how you doing this morning? Go ahead.
Great Monday, and weather's pretty nice down here right now.
So glad to have you back with us again, my main man Scotty Beam Him Up Webb. You can follow him over on the Bird, the X, or whatever they're calling it at Webby20 MLB. Thank you so much for coming back on the line with me. You know we're having the rain over here in Vegas. You got disconnected, but I got that auto dialer back on the line with me. So I figured out how to use auto dialer. There you go. So when you get disconnected now, going to be bringing you back on the line again. He is bringing the rain from Tampa Bay, Florida. Again, my main man, Scotty Beam Him Up Webb, MLB-daily.com. He has got the picks that are going to help you get paid today in baseball. So, Scotty, let's jump into it. Now, a little bit of a recap last night, like I was telling you before in the pregame. I took a win and a loss at the same time. Last night, I took the LA Angels to win in the doubleheader as the dog to put cash in your pocket money line. But then I made a mistake thinking because of the doubleheader and because of the run production that they had earlier in the day, they weren't going to bring the bats later on. And then Tampa Bay got out to an early 5-0 lead. And I threw the ticket in the trash because, again, being a math guy, in order for the Angels to win, it had to go over. So I had the under 8.5, and what do you know? Angels come back and win it 7-6. So I gave myself some grease, and then I got back on the dirty grind, man. These guys, talking about the pitching. It was terrible in the first 4 or 5 innings, but they did pull out the win. So just a quick recap on that game yesterday. I know we got the weather out here in SoCal. What happened? How did the Angels make that comeback after being dead for 6.5 innings? Go ahead.
Well, baseball's a funny thing. When you're going along, and you can have a guy go out there and he can be red hot for the first 3 innings, maybe even the first 5 innings, and it's not that he loses it so much as it's that's what he's got. And then the hitters make adjustments, and then the hitters go and then they know what he's going to throw. They've seen it. So because they've seen it, then they can hit it. And then as that starts to happen, the pitcher doesn't have anything to alter that. So in Major League Baseball today, you see a lot of that going on. That's why pitchers only throw 90 pitches to 100 pitches, because they don't really want them going through the lineup more than 3 times. When those guys go through the lineup for the 3rd time, the 4th time, they struggle because the batters are so good that the pitchers don't have enough pitches to get them out unless they're really, really good that day.
Right. No more Nolan Ryans or Oral Hershiser's. Go ahead.
Yeah, the stuff is just, they're amazing. The Major League pitchers are better than they've ever been, but the batters are just amazing too. So as they get going on and what happens, they would prefer to bring in somebody else that's got a different arsenal to attack these guys, and that's what the opener's all about. When you just have a relief pitcher start games, that's what it's all about. Is they go through the lineup once, or maybe the first 6 or 7 guys, so the starter can go a little bit longer into the game, and he still only has to face that lineup 2 or 3 times. So that's kind of how baseball's kind of working out these days. So it's not surprising that teams can get ahead and then all of a sudden they lose it, and then they can bring in, relief pitchers are a whole different other story. They can come in and they either have it or they don't. And if they don't, you better get them out of there because they're going to get bombed.
Right. And that's what we've been talking about over the past couple of weeks. But again, let's jump into it. These bets being brought to you by our friends over at BetUS.com, an illegal jurisdiction. If you need some help, get it. Also, if you're of legal age, use offer code VSX125 to get you where you want to be. So I want to talk about my hometown, New York Mets. Very surprising over the last couple of games, man. They've been bringing in some money line, been bringing in some wins. Today, they are up against the St. Louis Cardinals in a National League matchup. Rotation number 903, the New York Mets. Again, 58 wins, 66 losses. A lot of people are saying the season has been a disappointment. They traded away some of the problematic players and some of the problematic contracts. Still probably playing Gary Sheffield somewhere, mailing him a check every other month. But nevertheless, they've got Carlos Carrasco. I think he's going to be coming out today, going up against rotation number 904, the St. Louis Cardinals. Got Dakota Hudson on the line now. St. Louis has a losing record at home at 27-37, even though the Mets have a losing record on the road as well at 27-38. So again, it's a tough game, but the Mets took 40% of the money at plus 124 on the money line. Talk to me about this one, Scotty. Do you think there's any cash to be made? Go ahead.
Well, this is a little difficult game in a sense that you got the Mets and the Cardinals. Neither one of them are playing for anything at this point anymore. The Mets traded off some of their guys. You know, they got their pitchers out of there. And they got rid of Canhon, a lot of other players. So I think what you're running into though is that St. Louis isn't that good. So being a minus 145 favorite. Sort of against anybody is kind of a little bit of a stretch for me. Hudson's not that good of a pitcher anyway. Carrasco's been hit. He's been hit a lot. So the St. Louis might hit him a little bit today. But I don't mind a New York Mets bet here just because Hudson's no good. And, the St. Louis Cardinals at home's these are two teams that are going nowhere. And when you think about kind of what you want to do here, you want to look underdogish in these kind of games. Now, my personal opinion on these kind of situations is I don't bet them at all. Once we get to this point in the season, I want to get consistency and performance. So consistency and performance comes from those teams who have something that has something on the line. These two teams have nothing on the line, so you could run into that same scenario today that you ran into yesterday, where you could be ahead in the game, and then all of a sudden somebody scores 8 runs and they lose in the ninth inning. I mean, that's been happening quite a bit lately. So.
Oh, my goodness. Stay off this game. You heard him. Scotty Beam him up Webb. 2 turds in a bucket, seeing which one goes down first. That's what you're betting on. Moving along, talking about another team that you were saying consistency. Now, this is a team that we know, probably the best team in baseball. Talking about those Atlanta Braves, man. They're expensive today at plus 258, but talking about an anchor bet for a parlay. If you just need to keep the parlay alive, rotation number 902, another National League game. Atlanta Braves at home. They've got Max Fried on the mound, left-hander. These guys are 80-42 overall, 42-20 at home. Tough to play down in Atlanta. Again, San Francisco Giants coming in at 64-59, 29-31 on the road. Got Jacob Junis here, and these guys are plus 210 on the money line. The total in this game is over and under 9. I'm just going to say I like the over here because it's an expensive money line for Atlanta, and I think Atlanta's going to beat up all on these guys. Go ahead.
Well, this is one of those strange games where San Francisco is a pesky team. They don't score a lot of runs, but they don't allow a lot of runs. The guy pitching for San Francisco today, his name is Jacob Junis. He was a Kansas City Royal for a time, but he's found a little bit of a niche here. His niche is that he can pitch about 3 innings, maybe 4 innings, and he's pretty good in those spots. So, and then you have Fried, who's on the mound for Atlanta, obviously a left-hander who's one of the best pitchers in baseball. And San Francisco struggles a little bit against left-handers. So my thought on this game is that, you like the over here and over 9, and that may happen, but I kind of tend to think that this is going to be a first 5 game under the number. Because Junis is going to pitch pretty well. The Braves haven't really seen him much. And Atlanta, Fried's pitched pretty well, and San Francisco pretty much struggles against lefties. It's a bad time zone for San Francisco, too. I mean, it's a 1 o'clock start type game on the East Coast. So I like this game to go under in the first 5 innings.
Talking to Scotty Beam him up Webb. Again, you guys follow him over on the Bird at MLB. Webby MLB 20 again. I'm so confused with that website, man. They changed the name. It's a letter now. It's just weird. But anyway, moving into another game today, again being brought to you by our friends over at BetUS. This is a game where I figured that if I want to win some money today, I'm trying to pick teams with at least some winning records. A little bit tough today, but I looked at it, and there was a guy that told me, hey, take a look at this game, man. I'm from Philadelphia. So, again, shout out my main man, Naeem the Dream. Philadelphia Phillies, rotation number 909. They got Zach Wheeler on the mound, minus 230, very expensive on the road, going up against these Washington Nationals, rotation number 910. Now, Washington right now plus 191 on the money line. I'm not really sure if the Nationals can do it. They've got Williams on the mound today, Trevor Williams. He's a right-hander. But, again, you're talking about teams that aren't really playing for much. Do you think that because the Phillies are really close to that wild card spot that they have to win this game today? It's a must-win. Do you think this can be another team where you can put on an anchor for maybe one of those 2-3 team parlay schemes? Go ahead.
Well, Zach Wheeler pitching for Philadelphia in today, and data-wise, stuff I look at, WAR numbers and all the acronym numbers, the XFIPs, the FIPS, all those kind of things. He's the best pitcher in baseball. So people don't know that because they hear other people's names and they hear all these other things. And so Zach Wheeler is, and the other thing that you don't hardly see is you don't see road teams that are more than minus 200 very often, very seldom. A lot of times if they're a big dominant favorite, you look at them and they'll be minus 180, minus 175, something like that. Well, he's minus 220 today or whatever it is. And there's a reason for that because he's pretty dominant. And Williams, on the other hand, he's pretty sad. He's not a strikeout guy. He gives up a lot of contact. And the Phillies don't do good when they face strikeout pitchers. And this is not a strikeout pitcher for Philadelphia. Or for Washington. So I tend to think this is a one-way street here. Philadelphia is going to win this game. I don't know how bad they're going to win the game, but they're going to win the game. You want to use this as an anchor bet to one of your parlays? I don't mind that.
There you go. Scotty Beam, Up Webb, East Coast Sports Investors, MLBDaily.com. Talking about that baseball, want to give a shout-out to the Henderson Little League here in the Las Vegas. These guys won yesterday, 13-2. Over a team from New Albany, Ohio. They were able to get it done, staying in the tournament. Again, shout out to you young guys over at Henderson. You are the new and upcoming stars that are going to be filling out these major league rosters one day soon. So, again, congratulations to you guys for your win and to your coach who said you guys were going to play a lot better, and you proved him right. So, again, Scotty, one final game before we get out of here. Got about a minute left. Want to talk about them. It's one of those games where a lot of people always talk about it because of the teams. Rotation number 913, the Boston Red Sox versus rotation number 914, the New York Yankees. Now, the Yankees 60-63, Boston 65-58. Not too sure either one of these teams have anything to play for, but it is an interesting matchup due to the names. Do you think that the New York Yankees can get that 115? They got Clark Schmidt on the mound, and for Boston, they got Josh Witkowski. Go ahead.
Well, Schmidt's been pitching better for the Yankees, and Witkowski, he's an opener, so they're going to have a bullpen game. What's interesting to note here is that the Yankees in the last 6 games have only scored 14 runs, so they're averaging 2.3 runs a game. That's not going to get it done. So it doesn't matter to me, basically, who's on the mound for the Yankees. If they can't score, they're not going to win. So I would take Boston here.
Telling you to take the Boston Red Sox again. Scotty, thank you so much for stopping by the big board again. Any shout-outs before we go ahead and let you get out of here to your betting day? Go ahead.
Well, shout-outs, basically, you guys stay safe out there in the West Coast with that hurricane / tropical storm or whatever. I've been through many of those. Most of the time, it's not too bad, but, not usual for you guys, so I don't know what the water runoff looks like, so just be safe.
Well, I'm leaving you with Tony. They said it never rains in Southern California. Lied to you, but the song is still dope. Just want to make some laughing for you. Again, JB the Ticket, Vegas Scoreboard Express, signing off again today. You guys stay tuned every Saturday and Sunday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., KSHP 107.1, AM 1400. It never rains in Southern California, but it's raining today, and we're trying to make it rain money. JB the Ticket and Vegas Scoreboard Express. Let's get paid.
Maybe I'll take a flight out tonight, and you can take